in her years to the city, not only as an employee but also as a citizen here. Her and Mr. Willie are well known by everyone, and I don't know anyone that didn't like them. I think they were certainly well respected and well liked. And there's some family members here tonight also, and we've got a couple of the people from long ago that's here. I would like to recognize them. I see Miss Little in the back there. Thank you for coming, and Diane and Mr. Henderson. I think you were here. I know your aunt and Miss Margie was not able to attend tonight, and so I think you were kind of come by to to maybe say a few words if we can, and get you to say a few words over the years, because both of those ladies, they ran a tight ship around the city. They did everything. That was the city clerk, the water board, the court clerk, volunteer fireman at times, and there was they were quite a pair, and they did a good job. But with that being said, Miss Judy, would you and the family like to come up and say a few words to help us, or Mr. McKinley, you? Well, we'd really appreciate at least y'all saying a few words, and to let someone in the audience that may not have had the pleasure of knowing Miss Earlene.
She loved this city
She did.
with all her heart, and she put in a lot of hours. Yeah, and after she retired, she still, I think, came and was involved in some of the city business. But I think one of the funniest things that probably everybody knows about, when you said volunteer fireman, she was going to drive that fire truck that day that I don't know whose house it was that caught fire, but she was bound and determined she was going to get that fire truck over there, and she went out to drive the fire truck to wherever the fire was. And Mark, she loved her daddy.
She did.
She worked with Mr. Pete. I think they had some words. But she respected him, and he respected her. And she and Ms. Margie said they could always tell when Pete was upset because the way he walked down the hall to come up to the front office where they were. But even in her last few days, she talked about your daddy as she was, reminiscing. And y'all, I have no clue what she was talking about, but she said this on her bed after we had put her on hospice: Pete, I won't tell the law. Now, what she was talking about, what she was thinking about, what she was talking to Pete up in heaven about, I have no idea. But those were her words: Pete, I will not tell the law. But like I said, she loved the Satsuma, she loved the people she worked with. And
Well, we thank you, and we really appreciate it, because she certainly contributed a lot. That's good. Does anybody else in the family have anything that? Oh, I know some of you would. Miss Little, I know you were involved with her over the years, and when Mr. Little was the mayor, and he was on the council for several years, and then the mayor, and I think she retired while he was the mayor, didn't she? Well, I know they had a real good relationship too all those years. So
they did, and she was a very smart woman. She was very knowledgeable, and she did everything that was just, she was there to do whatever. It didn't matter if you the floor needed sweeping. She wouldn't say, get up and go sweep it. There wasn't anybody else there to do it. And so she was just a real good person and would do anything for you and help you. And she kept all the mayor and the council pretty much straight. But we enjoyed being friends with them forever, and so we don't miss her.
well, good. Thank you for those words. Mr. Henderson, you got a few things you might add, because I know you were a councilman. And
I would say that, Margie and Ms. McKinley were very close, and together for, I don't know how many years, close to, I guess, 20-something, to almost 30-something, I guess. But she loved Miss McKinley and thought a lot of her, and we all did. And I've heard all the stories about her driving the fire truck. And I don't know if y'all remember, but back years ago when we were a public safety department, the policemen used to drive the trucks to the fire. And then all the volunteers would meet them at the scene. And so one of the policemen one day decided to take off and go out in the truck. But he made the turn a little quick before he got out of the fire station. So he took down the side wall to Miss McKinley's office.
Oh.
And she just carried on like there was nothing ever happened. So, but anyway, she was a great lady, and Margie wanted to say that she really appreciated the opportunity to have something to say.
Okay. Thank you, James. And James also was a councilman here and spent many years on the volunteer fire department. I know you knew her, and your aunt and her were something else. But we'd love to hear any more or comments that any of you have or anything before we show y'all the plaque that's going to be placed on the wall here. And the wall certainly contains the names of many people that have paid their dues, I guess, to the city, or that contributed to making this a fine community that we live in here. Okay, I'm sorry, Edith, I didn't see you. Miss Diane, thank you.
Various times I've called Miss McKinley for different reasons on dates and things that happen throughout the city. And what a sharp memory that she had. She always remembered the dates and what happened and what transpired. So she was really close to me. And on behalf of the city of Satsuma, I would like to present you with this rose. To let you know that we love your mom, your family, and her family. Thank you. I thought a lot of her. Thank you.
Okay. All right, like I said, then I'd also like to thank Mr. Skelton back there tonight. He's not in the picture here tonight because the chief is out of town, and he's been helped us do the live streaming, and that has really brought a lot of comments from people. Most of them have been positive, so we didn't want to not have the meeting live streamed tonight, and Jason has helped out with Heather trying to make sure that we've got that taken care of. So I don't know if we'll be able to show the plaque where it's at on the wall, but
We'll take a picture of it.
okay, thank you, Jason. He's going to take a picture of it so that it can be included. But with that being said, if y'all would all like to gather around where Edith and the family are back there. Judy, why don't you go over there? We'd like for you and your brother, Mr. McKinley, why don't y'all go over there and let y'all go over there so you can see it. And we're going to move from the council here. I tell you what, we have some drinks and all set up in the back for the family, and if it's okay, I'd like for us to just take about a 10-minute recess while we can show the family the plaque and let them get some stuff and get some pictures. And some of them may have other engagements so that they can leave, and then we can get into our regular order of business. So with that being said, I would like for us to take a recess for approximately 10 minutes, and we will do that. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll be in recess for 10 minutes.
Lines for that? No.
That's it.
If it was mine, it's in my backyard.
Well, I appreciate y'all. We get something like the road.
Hey, Miss Allison. I did it January 30th.
Are you not doing one hand?
Wow, I can't do it anymore. I'm coming to competitions, but so yeah. Why she didn't tell me? I told her, I said, yes, just make sure you tell your mom.
She never shows me. My mother
When the clerk gets here, we'll just make an order.
We was talking, if Jason and Allison could stay down there, let's move these chairs where we can spread out more and they won't be so cramped down there.
That'd be fine.
You know what I mean? Well, we ain't gonna do it tonight, I'm just saying. That way you can move the mics and you can get a little bit further spread it out. Hey, Randy, take that mask off.
Okay, ready, Heather? Ready? Yep, everybody ready? Okay, we'll call the council back to order. We went a few minutes longer than we intended to with the reception, but it was very nice, and I would like to thank the ladies here in the office for helping put that together, a real nice event, so we do appreciate it. All right, moving on now. Any visitors that would like to approach the council, if you would, when you approach, just give your name and address and try to keep it to a few minutes at least. So, all right, sir, are you coming on up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, give us your name and address, please.
My name is Gary Givens.
Okay,
My address is 201 Minionette Avenue.
okay. Okay, sir, go ahead.
I'm here because I was trying to talk to some of y'all to let y'all know what my solutions are, what I'm trying to do with City of Satsuma. I'm trying to establish a soccer academy for our youth. I noticed that we have a lot of baseball fields out here, and I've been looking for a field, trying to get started on it. I talked to Miss Allison a while back to see if we had any room over there by the ballpark. There was no kind of room out there, so I was searching and searching. So I ran into Mr. Ron from the Golden Leaf Church. Me and him got together, discussed some couple things, walked around the fields, and I think that the fields out there with his church would be a great idea for our youth, for our soccer program. I know Saraland is doing theirs. Criola's been doing theirs. I've been coaching for Criola for the 9 years, and I've been wanting to get started on that, and that would help our youth to get going. It would help City of Satsuma, so everybody would not be leaving here and going to Saraland or Criola, so we can get a good environment in City of Satsuma. And I was trying to see if there's any way y'all probably could help with like a little budget to get me a little started and to go from there and see what we can do and see if we need to get together with something or some kind of plan or something like that.
Well, there's certainly a lot of interest in soccer. I'm looking out here every night, playing behind us at the high school. Some nights it's hard to believe how many people they got back there. I was unaware that you were going to approach the council tonight, so we haven't really had any discussion on this. But Allison, have you had any meetings or discussion with the gentleman here on regarding the?
We talked a little bit, and he had not found any property, but he's found some land now that they can practice soccer on. So I think it's something that we probably need to talk about as a council and see if we can allocate some money to the soccer program and kind of get some more ideas of where he wants to be as far as Satsuma Youth Association soccer and kind of work and see where we go from there. So this is just you know, I guess inaugural season and just to kind of see where the interest is and see if it grows. So, and I guess entertain possibilities that there might be.
I guess we would have to know, have some knowledge of how many kids we're going to have participating in the program. And
Yes, sir.
I would think we'd need a little more information in order to see if there's any way to help you. I mean, I know that there's a lot of interest in soccer, and like I said, from looking at the fields and up the street in Creola on Saturday mornings, it's a tremendous amount of young people involved in it. But I mean, would you be like in a league, or do you have a certain ages that you were
Yes, sir.
starting with? Or?
Yes, sir. I'm going to be starting out with the U6, the U8, and the U11.
So you'd start 3 different leagues?
Yes, sir.
So you think we'd have the interest to have all those filled?
Yes, sir. Definitely. And that'll be a great idea. Saraland just picked theirs up. Saraland had a good outcome. I was coaching the indoor league in Saraland, and his season started this coming up, spring season. It's coming, and me and him got together, and he said the outcome came pretty good. So what they're going to be doing is Saraland and Creola, Saraland, they're going back and forth. And then that's when I came in the middle and said, you know what, Satsuma ain't got nothing. So let's do Satsuma. So we have Saraland, Satsuma, Creola, Satsuma, Creola.
Okay. Mr. White, I think he's talking about your church there on Juniper. And
Well, we have been discussing the possibility of them using our property to create the soccer fields, and I feel like, we've got some things that we've still got to work out, the legalities of,
Right.
We want to make sure that the church is not bearing the responsibility of any, lawsuits or anything like that. But if we can jump through all those hoops, I think we could probably work with the this new youth soccer league to get it going. I think I'll have to, run it through the proper channels at the church,
Right.
but I don't foresee an issue with getting it approved.
Okay.
I've already talked to the core group, and they seemed agreeable.
Okay. Well, it's very nice of y'all to offer the property, and I know in years past, there's been some sports programs there, so thank you for the church for doing that.
Yes.
I'm not opposed to any type of help we can give or assistance to helping start. I mean, if, the parks look like, to me, they're starting out pretty good. Like I said, the ball fields and every night seem to have, a large number of kids there. I would like for us to get a little more information. Wouldn't you think, Jay, we need to have, what league you're in before we just start allocating money? I'd like to know basically, the number of young people involved in the sport, how many games you're going to have some detail to show how we're spending the money.
Yes,
But
sir.
if we have people involved in it and they want to do it, I'll support it, I guess. If you would like to contact me, or you can contact Allison, and she can put together something and bring it back, and, and you can let us know how it's progressing, and then kind of let us know what your needs are.
Yes, sir. The only kind of needs is really that I really was concerned about is help a little bit with the goals situation and maybe the jersey situation.
With the what
The
situation?
jerseys.
Okay. Then, there again, we'd have to look at how many we're going to have to buy and what the price would be, but, I mean, if
But would
Yeah, I think-
each child pay a fee?
Yes, sir, they will be paying a fee of $75, and that will cover the jerseys and the training and everything else, and that
But-
card.
But that wouldn't cover some of those expenses as far as goals and stuff like that, or?
Yes, sir, that will, but would have to have it before I get the program started, so.
Okay.
I think we would need like a list of needs, like if you mentioned the goals, because I don't think y'all can just hand them money. It's not a city program unless you brought it in under the youth association or something like that.
Well, I'm saying they'd have to form the association too.
You couldn't just, the city legally just can't give you money to do this program. We'd need some specifics of, like we might could help with the field, we might could help with something like that, or if we run it through the association where it would help with some needs that would help the program grow.
Yes, sir.
We're not saying at all that we don't want to help you. We would
Yes,
love to see a successful program there, but as our attorney there is saying, we'd have to have more than just showing up asking for help. We need
Yes,
to
sir, I understand.
have some help. But it sounds like you've just now getting it off the ground. So,
Yes, sir.
maybe if you another couple of weeks or so, you can get some more information. You hadn't got to come back to the council. If you can just forward it, that would be fine. But if you have a lot of interest and it's really going well and you feel like you need quick action, we'll be back here on March the 2nd. And,
Yes, sir.
maybe by then you can put some stuff together and
Yes, sir, because I was thinking about maybe having a summer academy, a summer league academy, because they're going to be out of school, and I was going to have that going and see how the things go first from there, because the season starts in spring. Spring ain't going to happen this time because it's already here, but I'm going to do the summer camp and see how the summer camp is going through, and then I would know more for the fall and the spring seasons. So that's what my intentions are, to do that first.
well, I wish you a lot of luck in that. And like I think they've both said there, if, bring it in under the youth association somehow.
Okay.
And I feel like we would be, able to help you a lot more once we have, some of what your plans are. Like you said, starting the summer league, when's it going to start? How many kids you anticipate or the teams would have, and, some type of what the costs are. Like we're saying, we just can't, issue a blank check, but I wish you well with it.
Yes, sir, I understand. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you, everybody. I also have some paperwork if y'all need to make copies or whatever, so y'all can go over it.
If you'd like to leave the clerk a copy, she can make copies and
Okay.
put it in all our boxes. Does that contain some of the things we've been asking you about, some of that information, or?
This is the waiver right here that will show that the Mr. Ron will not be responsible, the church will not be responsible. This is like a waiver where the parents going to be signing their kid. The city of Satsuma will not be responsible. The parents will have to sign a waiver to let them know they will be responsible for their child. And then also I have a thing about my soccer program also on here.
Okay, if you can leave us copies, that'd be interesting to read over, or any other, documents you have.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions for me further? Okay, Mr. Gibbons, thank you for
Thank
coming
you
up
all.
tonight. We wish you good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank
Mr.
you all
White,
for
we
y'all's
appreciate
time.
you joining us tonight. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Okay, I spoke with another gentleman. This came up at the last council meeting. Mr. Wilson referenced to some duck blinds that was accidentally picked up.
How y'all doing?
Um,
I was asked to come up here and, obviously nobody on the council is a duck hunter, so nobody really knew the price or what these are really even are. The only really thing I could bring was, off of Amazon. to show you the price. Now, the price here is $3.99. I got them on sale for $3.49. That's why on my paperwork where I filed, it said $1,000, I think $50 for the three. The incident, I bring all my blinds and my Ranger back on my trailer, park them in the front yard. I pulled the blinds off because it had been raining. I set them on the inside 10, probably 12 foot inside my yard, spread them apart, opened the doors, let them dry out before I stored them. Woke up the next morning, they were gone. I'd contacted the police thinking that somebody had stole them, and coming to find out, sanitation had picked them up, mistaking them for trash. And I just was gonna see if there's anything. I mean, I'm not making a big stink about it or anything like that, you know, but there was a mistake made, and me personally, I don't feel like it was on my end. So that's why I'm here.
So what's the total cost of the duck blinds that you say that were removed?
I paid $350 a piece times 3, so that would be $1,050.
You got an invoice on them?
An invoice? I have I tried to pull up on my bank statements, but I couldn't get them I couldn't get BBVA I don't have to do online banking. Hell, I just got a bank account not too long ago. I was raised on cash, using cash in hand, and that's all going away now. But I could see, plus my dad bought one. I have them. One was my dad's, one was mine, and one was an extra because I bring guests. I'm in a hunting club in North Mississippi near Tunica. But I can do my best to round up invoices amount. I mean, I don't really. They know they have confirmed that they picked them up. You know.
How old were they? Like a year old, 2
I
years
just
old?
bought them before this winter.
So they'd been through one season.
Yes, sir.
How long were they designed to last?
You know, it's all on the individual. If they're taken care of, I'd say it lasts 3 seasons. You know, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's, I'd say, last 3. Mine probably 2. He takes care of things a little better than I do. But they weren't in bad shape. They don't look like trash. I don't know how they were mistaken for trash because they just on the other side of my driveway. I live on 322 Thunderbird Drive there. And the last house on the right, some of y'all might know Dale Miller. He's my father-in-law, which he's gone now. But anyway, we rent from Kim, his wife. And on one side there by my driveway, there was a pool and a couple trash. They picked it up, come by, had to walk around my trailer with my Ranger on it, picked them up, and then they said they were an 8 Mile by the time the police rounded them and found out that they had taken them. They had already made it to 8 Mile and unloaded all the trash. So they told me that they were unrecoverable.
Landon, you said there was 3 of them.
Yes, sir.
And you said you had them out drying. Was they standing up or was they laying on the ground?
They have legs on them where you can get up out of it, like if you're in sheet water, ankle deep water. But I didn't have them on. They were just laid open. They have doors that cover you when you lay inside of them. You hunt off the side of soybean and rice fields. They just had the doors open, and you can see there's like a seats built into them. And I just had them laid next to each other. We have live oaks everywhere in there. And that one little spot, I get sunlight trying to let them dry out. It's going to be dry for a day or 2. Mm-hmm. And they picked them up.
My husband, he has duck hunted before, and I did run this past him, and he does say that it sounded very likely that it was mistaken for garbage. Based on what we've heard as far as him trying to lay them out to have them air dry, what people wouldn't know as duck blinds.
Right. Well, I mean, it looks like fabric. Basically, it looks like fabric laying there. I mean, but
and he said that price seemed pretty reasonable for what the cost of those things are.
Like I said, I'm not gonna make a huge stink about it. Ain't nobody at the house gonna go hungry over it or nothing like that. But just seeing if there's anything that can be done.
First thing, hopefully in the future, don't leave anything out there where you leave the.
Oh no!
'Cause I rode over there to look.
I was like, I know. I went back inside and told everybody. I said, I know somebody didn't just stop by and go grab them blinds. That just ain't something that a thief would think to I mean, it's a limited market there, right? You can't go to a pawn shop and pawn them or nothing like that, so
You know there's no honor among duck hunters, though.
that duck is cutthroat, I already know. I'm in a private club and I feel like I'm on public land, to put it that way.
Well, he said he done it, and he just, mistakenly, I guess, picked them up. And
You know, we're all human, like I said, I've made more mistakes than I care to even start to even think about, so it ain't.
If the city decides to help, they would need to give you the value of them, not the replacement cost of those.
Yes, sir.
Based what you're saying, so it would be, they were at least a third used up,
Yes, sir.
I think. So it'd be 2/3 of what your bill would that be a fair assessment for the actual cash value of them?
That would be 100% okay on my end.
You think we need the invoices?
It would help, but he signed a form,
Yeah.
and then our people said they took them, so we know we did take them.
So that'd be approximately $700. That's what, well, rather than.
$700 is? I make a motion that we pay the $700 to take care of the duck blight.
Motion made by Mr. Little and seconded by Allison to pay the sum of $700 to settle the dispute with Mr. Wilson. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, let it show. The clerk will get you a check in the next day or so if you can call up and make an appointment with her, schedule a meeting. She may, I don't know, do you need any other paperwork where you got it or what they were? Please, in the future,
I ain't gonna
move stuff
put
away
anything
from the road a little bit.
I'm gonna get worried about even putting trash out there. I appreciate it, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, we're moving pretty quick. Mr. Jack, anything at all? No, sir. Goodness gracious, I can't believe that. Ms. Little, Diane, thank you all for coming. Mr. White, you have anything else, or you just joining, just listening to what we got going?
Just listening.
Mr. Walters, how about you tonight?
Good, but I appreciate the offer, Mayor.
Well, we appreciate all you do. I've had 2 or 3 people call and ask me about those signs at the end of the city and how we'll keep them changed and looking good. So I try to tell them that the civic groups that are around have helped us with that. So,
Yeah, it's the women's club, so, I'm just a yes man.
well, I've seen you out there working with them and all.
Mayor, the flags came in Monday, so as soon as the weather breaks, I'll have those changed.
Okay, thanks, Chief. I think it'd been some talk around town. I know I mentioned it a couple times about some of the flags that were needing replaced, and
I went around, made a list, one to be replaced, as soon as it breaks, I'll have it replaced.
okay, maybe this weather will clear up and we can take care of a lot of things here in the next few days. Thank you for that update, Chief, on those. All right, if there's no other visitors or anyone to come, I guess we can go into our regular order of business, and we might be able to move this thing on along. All right, the mayor's report. I briefly mentioned several things in pre-council tonight, so I'm just going to run over them very fast so that we can just have them on the minutes for our meeting. We did receive a thank you from Mr. Harrison Dial from the baseball club regarding the ad we purchased at the last meeting. Nice note from the young man. The building inspector list, after 2 months, finally came in last week. Interviews were conducted Friday by myself and Heather. Mr. Phillips and Mr. Little both helped finish up conducting the interviews yesterday. We have a packet of information if any of y'all would like to look through it, seeing all those who applied for the job. And hopefully by the end of this week, we will have a list of just 3, perhaps 4 people for a second interview. And I look forward to filling that position because we have desperately need a building inspector and somebody to help us with facilities. So hope that on the March 2nd meeting, we will have that person named. I did mention to y'all that AlDOT came by last week and met with us for several minutes. We discussed the Highway 43 bridge project and hopefully a date that they can get that accomplished or completed and get 43 back open. They're supposed to be repaving the approaches from both ends, so hopefully it will look nice, and we will get that completed in 3 to 4 months. We did have a department head meeting last week where we discussed the issues, things, concerns that we have. I would like to state that at the meeting, we discussed the potholes and trying to get them replaced and scheduling a date for that. But if y'all will look at the weather the last few days has not been very good for trying to repair, do any potholes. I'm not even sure the asphalt plants have run with this cold weather being as cold as it is, and it's raining and all. It'd be useless to try to fix it in the middle of that. So the first clear day that we have, when we have the workers in, we will be working on the potholes. So I'm very sorry that it's taken some time to get that taken place. I did show on the bills tonight, you will see a payment that I've recommended for the building inspector from Creola, who came in and worked for us part-time back in November when we didn't have anyone. We also did pay Creola, helping us with the delivery of some of the senior meals while our driver was out. I just wanted y'all to be aware of that. Passed around a thank you also, I don't know where it's at, from the Census Bureau regarding the census count that the city received. We were notified today, our insurance carrier has assigned an adjuster to us regarding some of the storm damage claims. Hopefully that will move this progress forward a little faster. The plaque presentation that we've tried to put together for Ms. McKinley is now taking place, and her plaque is on the wall. So thanks to all of you that helped put together the event for tonight and help make that good for that family. She certainly deserved it for her years of service here. Met with Alabama Power last week. They wanted to discuss things of the future growth of the city, what we're anticipating. They asked for ways they could help. They wanted input on future responses of storms and what the city may need or what we thought the power company may be able to assist with. It was about an hour meeting with Jeff Smits, I believe is the way he pronounces his last name. It was a very productive meeting. I did get the contract with Golden Mills and Kaywood. I know, Randy, you and Jason have both looked over that. It gives the price breakdown on what they will charge. As everything else, when we got the contract, it wasn't worded exactly right, and then we had to send it to our attorney and send it back to them, and it basically has taken the 2 weeks since the last meeting to get that in place, but we have that if either one of you want to review it. I think we've basically got everything that we're going to have. Randy, was you going to take care on the item consideration at number 4 of that operator 3 position down it? Done it. Okay. With that being said, I think I've addressed everything that I know of that I told y'all we'd get back on. So I do appreciate that. Also in the pre-council, I did ask if y'all had any objection to us mind trying to hire people for specific projects, special projects. Jay, did I need to have a motion for that in any way, or do you think that that's, I mean, it's been brought up and discussed, but
I think it would help if they're okay with that, to do that. And then also, we just got to make sure that the way we're hiring is in compliance with the Personnel Board rules on that. But we can look at it on a project by project.
I don't think we need to hire another person in the office because we don't need a full-time position, but we could certainly use some help, and I've give y'all a couple examples, trying to move forward on some of these houses that have been needing action taken against, where they're no longer kept up. Some of these road projects that just seem to go and go and go, and but there's other things we need somebody specifically looking into some of those things. And it's something that hopefully we can report at every council meeting, and you can see progress being made. So, with that being said, does anybody cares to give a motion to let us explore hiring somebody for special projects? Or
If we need a motion, I'll make a motion that we do that.
Would that not fall under the
Well, we discussed it at pre-council, but you're looking at the houses, some of those that have been here, yes, and Tom is one of the people we talked about, we might have to bring back to find out exactly where he was at in this process. James was another one we talked about. He had agreed to come back and help, like at the pilot, that
And that's
that
just
project.
till we get into the, maybe our building inspector and get him up to speed. That's maybe past stuff.
If we get a lot going on, I think one building inspector to oversee all the building and facilities is just, I don't think one person's going to keep up with it all. So, we can have,
Would we limit their,
sure you would. I mean, we're only talking about, like James, he only wants to work, a couple days, maybe a month or
well,
something.
I'm saying like they would hold on to information until, like, as long as they wanted to work, like, maybe not be as forthcoming as someone that we would hire that would come in with fresh eyes as far as projects go.
Well,
'Cause I know some of the projects that I've had going on, it's been over a year now, and they're still not complete, so.
Well, then that's a perfect example of what we're discussing. I mean, we sit here and we try to get things going, and just the everyday things that happen, it seems to divert the attention back to what they're doing. Nobody specifically looks at certain projects, and there are things that I feel like we need to somehow give somebody instructions on what we want done and a timetable. Y'all were talking about an auction back 8 or 10 months ago. We still got surplus vehicles, scrap, things that are no good. And we're still sitting here talking about it, months later. Something like that should be an action item that we put together in 90 days. It should be over with, and so.
As long as we get our end result in a timely manner, I think that we'd be okay with that.
Oh, and I think that we need to start putting a conclusion on when we wanted something to end. I mean, there's going to be big things that I know is going to be difficult, but if we decide that there are 10 homes that have been abandoned and they're not kept up, and we need to target those 10, then, we don't need to be sitting here 6 months later talking about we never moved forward.
Right.
But, with the sudden retirement we had of several people, they took a ton of knowledge and what they were working on out the door when they left, and I feel like that could probably get somebody coming in to speed a lot faster if they had some of that, so.
But that's just depending on who we get
Right.
in that position. Hey, if he or she comes in and takes up and everything goes smooth and we might not need this person, but like you say, just every now and then, or certain project here or there. I think where mainly this come up with James, knowing a bunch of stuff over the years about the pilot situation up there. And that's just one example.
Right, and
Just-
that was one of them that brought this up. We've talked about that project and what's the city's responsibility or what's the state, what's not theirs, working with the pilot. And they said, we've started this over and over for 7 or 8 years, and we're starting back, and James had been one of the people that was involved from the start. And when I talked to him, he said, sure, let me know when and give me some notice.
Right.
And so I thought, I'm bringing to y'all what has been brought to me. And, we discussed it, and no one seemed to have a problem with it, but,
Well, if you're talking about, are you talking about the concrete work?
well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm
So-
hoping it will do, but I was.
Calametti had given me verbal that they were good for 100,000, so I don't know what the pilot guy said.
Right, but to me, he's been retired for a year and a half.
Well, I'm just saying that at the time, he was ready to go.
But
so
I'm not,
We
I'm
could have
not,
moved
not-
on it then.
and I wish y'all would have a year and a half ago and we wouldn't be here tonight,
Yeah,
but,
I think it was just trying to get a meeting with the guy from Pilot.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think we were good for 100,000, so was AlDOT, and it just never came together.
I think Paul's canceled 3 or 4 meetings.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's,
but if we have somebody that is meeting with them and it pushes it daily and finds out,
is James gonna be that guy though?
well, I would like for him to be involved in
Feel
it.
like he would be that
that guy?
Well, when I talked to him, he said to let him know that he would come talk to it, and they specifically asked me, they said James had been involved with the meetings, and they've had retirements and changes. There's been at least 2 changes in administration up here since they first met with them, and they're saying, we need somebody that's been here, and then I would like to see the project get started.
Sure.
This is an example. I mean, I certainly wasn't involved in the meetings that's been going on, and apparently some of y'all wasn't, because.
Well, I
just-
don't think they ever sat down except for the last guy who was the new owner.
Yeah, I went back and looked, and the last thing we had in the minutes was on September 1st. That meeting, Mayor Williams said that they had a meeting with the new regional guy from the pilot and Matt Erickson,
Okay,
and they were talking about it being in design then.
sure,
So here we are, 6 months later.
Exactly.
right.
Thank you. That's,
Well, I'm just saying, do we want to pay James for a whole year for
no,
keeping up with it?
absolutely
No.
not. We do not
It'd
want
be a
anybody.
contract basis.
Sure.
Contract as needed basis,
Okay.
Right.
the mayor.
As needed per hour.
Make sure
Right.
allow the mayor to hire someone on an as-needed basis for professional business.
Mayor, Mr. Little had a motion on the
That's the
floor. I'd like
motion
to
I
second
make,
it.
or, all right, I make.
Thank you. Motion made by Mr. Little and seconded by Mr. Phillips. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
And those opposed. Thank y'all very much. I think we will move forward on some of that now. That is all that I have tonight. I would like to go into the council now. So Mr. Little, Public Services.
That just kind of goes over in, like I say, the department that I'm, one of them that I'm over, and also had another citizen concerned about, abandoned properties, condemning property, like say, which, falls under building inspector. And, I told the person, we are working on these things. And basically, hopefully when we get this person in position, things will kind of get straightened out there also. But I did tell him that we are working, and we have a good many properties that is in question and in the works as of now. Also mentioned last meeting about needing a driver for the meals that we deliver. We do have a few people that's inquired about that, so we're continuing to work on that. Other than that, that's all for now.
You're right. I don't realize how many people have those meals and all until we get something happen, and all of a sudden we have to struggle to get them delivered every day.
That's right.
But you're right. Thanks, Mr. Little. Mr. Butler.
I don't have anything for tonight.
Yeah, well, that's good and quick. Thank you.
You want me to talk about something?
No, we're on a good roll here tonight, getting things going.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Kelvin?
I don't have anything.
Good. Really good and good. Miss Allison, anything tonight?
Baseball, softball starting up. I sent some stuff to Heather, and we might be getting an agreement for people who are outside of the youth association who want to rent the fields, access to the lights, et cetera. And that's something that Miss Vicki and I worked on for a while. People who wanted to come, like travel ball, people during the summer wanted to use the fields. And, since we're a park, it's open to the public, so we can't really restrict anything, but we want to have measures in place to make sure that the youth association has the right of first refusal, things like that, and then others can enjoy the field. Things would include signing a waiver, taking a deposit on some keys for lights, paying for the power for the lights, et cetera. And just general rules of how to take care of the fields, pick up your trash, that kind of thing. And anything that the governor has in place for COVID as far as sanitizing and stuff like that, social distancing. So just look for that, in the next few meetings.
Well, I'll tell you, the last week or so, I've noticed the parks I thought were looking very good. I noticed the lights up for the high school. The new pole was up and looking good. I seen them working on that last week. I know the high school takes care of the field back here, and I think it's a lot of the parents, but they've been out. Have you had a chance to look at the softball field over in the last few days? Those guys they're here every night. Either they're working or It's a group of them out there. That place, it'll look really good. They've done a good job on that.
You talking about for the high school?
Yeah, I was just saying, I know that it wasn't city, but I was just saying the parks and all those fields, I thought looked very good. It's so those guys, I don't know who they must be, some motivated parents, because they've been out there in the rain and cold, but there was a big crowd out there both last night and tonight, so that's good. Mr. Phillips.
Mayor, I don't have much. One thing we was talking about the exit at Pilot. I know that the Public Works, Crystal, did they work on it any today? I know it's on the schedule, and
Temporarily in patch, hopefully it'll last longer.
a few weeks at least.
Well, we went concrete this time instead of asphalt, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that it lasts longer.
Okay, but like I say, we know it's not going to last. We've got to move forward with that project. And also earlier in the pre-council, I asked the council to consider at the next meeting purchasing a buggy to be used for public works, for trash and things of that nature, and it's going to be put on the agenda in 2 weeks. So again, I'd like to council, if they got any questions, give me a call, or give Crystal one, we'll talk about it. And that's all I got, Mayor.
That went relatively quick and smooth tonight. That's good. Okay, items for discussion and consideration. First, number one is the payment of bills. I think a couple of y'all were looking over them. Any questions, additions, deletions?
Make a motion, we pay them in the amount of $50,819.65.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton, seconded by Mr. Little to pay the bills in the set amount. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay, we're paying the bills. Number two, that was Mr. Wilson. That's already been addressed, and that was settled for $700 according to my notes. Is that correct? So that was a motion made and done. The third item I've already discussed with y'all, that is to settle with the building inspector that came down and worked for us before we actually got Saraland to come in, and they volunteered to do that until we could get in place. But for the first several weeks, whenever Mr. Breon left and retired, we didn't have anybody, and Don Moss did come down. So I would ask that y'all consider that payment for $1,550. He turned in an invoice detailing the inspections he made and the people he asked to come get business license. So
You said that was gonna be in-kind work.
it was originally, and he said it wasn't, and that he wasn't paid for them, and he wanted to be compensated for it. And so I've recommended to the council that we go ahead and just pay him for the compensation, and we're now using Saraland to end the matter.
Did you see that with the hours and all that, how he broke it down?
Nope.
It's in your packet, or supposed to be, I think.
Mayor, I'm also kind of curious with Ms. Collins too about the in-kind work. I mean, I know that the inspector done the work, he should get paid for it. I'm not against that. I also noticed we had the dinners that we paid someone from Creole to come deliver. We're doing in-kind work. I know we're doing emergency calls and fire calls to Creola. And I thought it was kind of being traded out. You know, you help us and we'll help you, but that don't seem to be the nature of it. Am I correct, or am I misreading this?
As far as fire goes, police goes, we can remember that too, that's the way it works.
Right, what I'm saying is that
I can't,
we're sending a $500,000 truck and 2 firemen to Creola and not charged a dime for it. So I'm just curious how the setup is. I mean, I thought it was going to be a swap, but it ended up not being that way,
Yeah, I'm not okay with that.
you know?
Well,
I'm going to vote to pay him the bill because he done the work, but I think it's something we need to.
Who agreed to pay him?
Well, I told him if he was out any money, that we would pay him. And then the mayor up there said that they would work with us until we got a building inspector. Now, we didn't anticipate it taking over 2 months for the personnel board to send it.
Well, that's only
get
for
us a
less
list.
than a month's worth of work, and the council, I mean, that would need to come before the council before you agree to pay him.
Well, did I need them before the council when we didn't have money, or anybody to deliver the meals for the senior citizens the other day in between meetings?
Doesn't the council?
So I can't make any decisions in between the council meetings?
Right?
I run the day-to-day operations here. I'm here every day. So, and I'm trying to bring up what we're facing.
Balances. I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you, but I think that's just the way it's supposed to go, right?
Look, I'm recommending to you to pay so that you can see what he's done.
Well, I mean, that was supposed to be in advance.
There was no
You said
advance.
in kind work, we're like, great, in kind work. Well, you come back later and you say he wants to be paid. Well, I mean, that needed to have been brought to us before he started working. Like, when you work for somebody, you, like, make sure you outline that prior to working. And any adult knows that, so. That's just my opinion.
Well, I'm recommending that we pay him, and I'm recommending that we pay the lady that helped us with the meals, because
See,
in
that's-
both,
That's not on there. We're talking about number 3.
well, I'm talking about things that we're faced with here at the city during the day-to-day operations of our city.
Well, this is just
If you
about
don't
Don
like it, then we make a motion, you vote no. I mean, that's the way.
Right
to
now,
do.
we're talking about Don Moss, $15.50. For 1 month's worth, less than a month's worth of work.
62 hours.
62 hours.
Mayor, I put it in form of motion, we pay him, strictly because, like I say, he did the work, and I'm not going to ask him to suffer the penalty because I did a complication with
You told us it was
Creole.
in-kind work.
I put it in form of motion, so.
All right, is there a second?
Second the motion.
Motion made by Mr. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Little. All those in favor,
We
signify.
need to discuss it a little more.
Okay.
If you,
You told us it was
Okay, go ahead.
in-kind work.
I understood also that that's what we had talked about first, the in-kind stuff, and that's the way the police department and the fire department kind of was operating.
Right.
Then this comes up now, like I say, Mayor, you had the conversation after that, and I think it did get a little, we wasn't satisfied because we thought it was in-kind work.
Right.
And then he brings the bill to us.
Right.
Now,
And then we went to Saraland, and they agreed to do it.
I
And he
haven't
says
seen
he's
that.
not.
Has that come before
and
council?
as far as
Free?
pursuing them after that,
Maybe if you come around a little more to the meetings, you would know when we discuss it, you know?
Okay, what meeting?
let me finish what I was gonna say. Then it kind of got crossed, but I think we need to pay the man, pay the city for what they done, but in the future, like I say, I probably would not agree to this in-kind stuff anymore.
Okay. Well, I wasn't anticipating the retirement of the building inspector who said he wasn't going to retire. And is that really, you gonna sit there and roll your eyes while we're trying to address you now? We got a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed.
No.
Let it show the motion passed.
Mr. Butler, did you say no or yes?
I said yes.
Yes?
I said yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving on. Number 4, consideration for opening operator 3 position in Public Works.
I make a motion that we consider operator 3 position in Public Works.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Little, seconded by Mr. Phillips to open the operator 3 position in Public Works. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
And those opposed. Let it show that we are opening the position. Is there any other business that needs to come before the council tonight?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Little, seconded by Mr. Butler to adjourn. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Get transition first.
Crystal and Chief, Sergeant, thank y'all for coming.
That's why I said that.
We did have the understanding of the in-kind work.
Yeah.
And I don't agree, you know, what we do when he does bring a bill, we need to take